Hey, what's up guys? This is the second part for the video section 6.1 graphing system of equations. So remember that a system is just when you have two equations, one on top of the other one, and you want to find the value of x and the value of y that will make the true statement for both equations. When you substitute the numbers, you have to get the same answer, and it has to work for both equations. So this video is going to show you guys how to find those values, the x and the y, by graphing. So I'm going to give you guys a few examples. Let's go ahead and look at them. So let's go ahead and start with this example here. So notice that we have two equations we want to solve. We want to find the x and the y by solving. And when you guys are trying to solve by graphing, what you want is to find out where the two lines will cross, the point of intersection. Sometimes the lines do not cross, they're parallel, or sometimes they're the same line. So I'll explain what happens when you have the same line or parallel lines. But let's go ahead and figure out if these two lines, y equals x plus 1 and y equals 2x, do intersect one time. Notice that both equations are in slope-intercept form. The y is by itself. So when you graph a line, it is in slope-intercept form, you find the slope and you guys can find the y-intercept. I'm going to use different colors because I will have two different lines on the coordinate plane. So my first line is going to be a red line. My slope. When you guys have the y by itself, the slope is right next to the x. So if you look at the number next to the x right here, well, we have an invisible 1. So my slope will be 1. And it has to be rise over run, so you guys need a fraction. Why rise over run? Because that's going to help you find a second point after you plot the y-intercept or you graph the y-intercept. So I'm going to make this one a fraction. You just put a 1 under the number. So that is my slope. I'm going to write down my rise is the top and the run is on the bottom. Now I need to find the y-intercept, b. The y-intercept is the number after the x, so we have a plus 1. So that means that my y-intercept is 1. Now to graph it, you always start with the y-intercept with this one here. So it is positive 1 on the y-axis. You guys go from the origin up 1 on the y-axis. So you make a point here. And then you guys will use the slope, 1 up, 1 to the right, and I'm going up because it's positive. If the rise is negative, you go down. But right now you go up and 1 to the right, and you guys make another point here. Now, it's a good idea when you guys are solving by graphing, solving system as graphing, to make more than 2 points. Maybe 4, 5, 6. The more points you have, the more it's going to be accurate to help you guys find the answer. So I'm going to go 1 up again from here, 1 to the right. I'm going to make more points. 1 up, 1 to the right. And you can also go the other way from the y-intercept. Instead of going up to the right, well, you guys go to the left, down, or down to the left. So I make another point here, down to the left, right here. So we have the line. Notice how many points I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. My line is going to be more accurate. So now I'm going to use a blue one, a blue color. This one here is going to be a blue line. And I just want to check if they do intersect and maybe they're parallel or maybe they are the same line. So let's go ahead and find the slope. The slope of that line, you guys will get the number next to the x. So right next to the x, this one here. So that is my slope, 2. I need to make it a fraction because I need the rise and the run. My y-intercept is after the x. So notice we don't have anything here. So when you don't have a number, b, the y-intercept is 0. So 0, your y-intercept is actually the origin. So you guys go to the origin right here. And my slope is 2 up. That's my rise. And 1 to the right. So I go 1, 2, 1 to the right. And you guys already notice this point is on top of the red one. And that's good because that's the point of the intersection. But I'm going to keep going. I go up 2, 1 to the right, up 2, 1 to the right, or you guys can go the other way from the y-intercept down to 1 to the left. You do the opposite, down to 1 to the left, and you guys connect the points. So we have a red line and a blue line. Now the point of intersection is right here. I'm drawing a box so you guys can see it. Your answer is the coordinate of that point. So what is the coordinate? Let's go ahead and look. This point, you have to go 1 to the right and 2 up. 1 from the origin, 1 to the right, and 2. So my x value will be 1, and my y value will be 2. And I'm going to put x here and the y here so you guys know those are the numbers. What does it mean? It means that if you substitute a 1 for the x, a 2 for the y, you're going to get a true statement. So just imagine you have a 2 here, you have a 1 here, 2 times 1 is 2 equals 2. It's true. If you put a 1 here, 1 plus 1 is 2, and the y is 2, so it makes a true statement. How do you write down your solution? How do you write down your answer? Well, your solution is the parentheses. It's actually your order pair. 1, comma, 2. Make sure you guys use parentheses because it is an order pair. Now, the type the type of system that you guys have, okay? When you guys look at the two lines and they intersect only one time, we say that the system is consistent, independent. Some people say classify the system, so it is a consistent, independent system. It means when you guys hear that phrase, consistent, independent, it means that the two lines intersect only one time. So let's go ahead and try another example. Example number 3, same thing you guys want to solve, but there's a little bit difference here. The first equation, it is in slope-intercept form, y is by itself, so you guys can see the slope, you guys can see the y-intercept. The second one is not slope-intercept form, so you guys cannot say this is your slope. This is actually the standard form. So I'm going to show you guys the little shortcut I showed you in class to find the slope, and I'm going to show you how to find the y-intercept from the standard form, okay? But let's go ahead and graph this one first. You always do one line at a time. So I'm going to use this one as a red line. My slope is -1/2. So notice the fraction next to the x right there. That's going to be your slope. My y-intercept is the number after the x, and we have a +2. So +2, that is my y-intercept. So let's go ahead and go to this number here. B equals 2. That is my y-intercept. So on the y-axis, I go up 2. Remember, from the origin, that's where you start, 1, 2, and you make a point right here. I'm going to use the slope, and I'm going to make more points. Now the slope is -1, so that means I go 1 down, but the bottom number is positive. The negative goes to the top, and the bottom stays positive. Let me make a little arrow so you guys remember. This negative goes to the top number, and the bottom stays positive. So you guys go down 1 and 2 to the right. So notice right here, 1 and 2 to the right. So you make a point right here, and you do that again. 1 down, 2 to the right, 1 down, 2 to the right. You guys can go the other way from here, 1 up, 2 to the left. That's the opposite. 1 up, 2 to the left. So you make a point right here, 1 up, 2 to the left, you make a point right there. You guys connect the points, and that is your first line. But now you guys need to graph your second line and see where it crosses. Maybe they don't cross, maybe they do cross. You just have to check. So my next line will be the blue one right here. And remember I said this is standard form, 2x plus 4y equals 8. So when you have standard form, this is how you find the slope. You guys take the opposite of a divided by b. So it's important to know which one is the a, which one is the b. And we're also going to use c today, so you have to know which one is your c value, a, b, and c. Standard form. X is the one with the a, so 2 is a. B is the one with the y, so 4 is b. And c is your constant. Remember, constant is the one with no variable. So I'm going to use those numbers. So my slope in standard form, opposite of a, so notice 2x, opposite is negative, so negative 2 over b, and b is positive 4, so you put a 4 right here. You guys can simplify the fraction. Negative 2 over 4 simplifies to negative 1/2. Now, your y-intercept, b, that is the y-intercept. In standard form, to find the y-intercept, you guys will take the c value divided by b. Now, guys, do not get confused. Yes, we do have two b's, one little b, lowercase, one uppercase. This lowercase means your y-intercept. So don't get confused with this one. This one is actually the number in here. So you will use lowercase b. C is 8 and b is 4. And you guys can simplify. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So now you guys plot, graph the line. So my y-intercept is 2. I go up 2 from the origin right here. Okay, so the blue point is on top of the red one. But my slope is negative 1. Once again, you guys take the negative to the top number and the bottom stays positive. So you guys go 1 down and 2 to the right. 1 down, 2 to the right. I make another point. 1 down, 2 to the right. 1 down, 2 to the right. And I can go the other way. I can go 1 up from the y-intercept. 1 up, 2 to the left. That's the opposite. And 1 up, 2 to the left. What do you notice? The points are the same. They are on top of the red points. So what that means, we have the blue line on top of the red line. So the two lines are the same. They have the same slope and they have the same y-intercept. What does it mean? It means when they are the same line, we have many solutions. So many solutions means that you are going, that you guys are going to find many x's, many y's that actually work for this system. You guys can substitute the x, you guys can substitute the y, and you guys can find those numbers and they give you a true statement. So we just write down many solutions. Now, if you want to say what type of system, if you want to classify the system, when it's many solutions, when it's only one line, we say this is consistent, and we have dependent. So when you guys have many solutions, we have a system that is consistent, dependent. So I'm going to do one more example. Remember that the idea when you guys solve a system by graphing is just graph the two lines. You want to check if they intersect at one point. That's going to be your solution. If the two lines are parallel, meaning that they never intersect. So let me just give you guys an idea right here. Let me just zoom in. And I'm going to give you guys an idea what the parallel lines look like. And you guys already know what they look like. But if you have, let's say, I'm going to make a coordinate plane here. And I'm just going to make two random parallel lines. So let's say that we have one going this way and the other one going this way. So if the two lines are parallel, that means that they never touch, they never intersect. We say we have no solution. Now remember, you have to find the slope, you have to find the y-intercept. So if they're parallel, it is no solution. When it's no solution, the type of system that is, or when you want to classify the system, we say is inconsistent. So make sure you guys understand what type of system you have and how many solutions you have. So we have no solution when it is parallel. We have many solutions when you guys have the same line, and if they do intersect at one point, that is one solution. So let's go ahead and look at the next example. So this one here, we just want to graph again, and we want to see if the two lines intersect, or maybe they don't intersect, or maybe they're the same line. So let's go ahead and look at the first line, the first graph that we want to make. So I am going to look at the 2x plus y equals 5. So I'm looking at this one here, and I'm going to make it red. So first we need to find the slope and the y-intercept. So remember, when you have standard form, x and y are on the same side, to find the slope, you are going to take the opposite of a divided by b. So here's the a, there's the b. We will use c, so c is my constant. But the slope is opposite of a, negative 2 over b, which is positive 1. You have an invisible 1 next to the y. And that's a fraction, so we leave it as a fraction, negative 2 over 1, rise over 1. B is c over capital B, so that's going to equal 5 over 1. B, your y-intercept, doesn't have to be a fraction, so that simplifies to 5. Now you guys will graph it. You're going to the y-axis at 5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right here, and I make the point. Now I use the y-intercept, negative 2 over 1. That means I go down 2 and 1 to the right. So from the y-axis, or the y-intercept, 1, 2, 1 to the right. And I make my point right here. And then you just keep going. 1, 2, 1 to the right. And you make another point. 1, 2, 1 to the right. You can also go the other way. You can go up to 1, 2, and 1 to the left. And you connect the points. Now you guys will do the next one. Now the next line, let me just make it blue so you guys can differentiate. So this one is blue. X equals 2. When x is by itself, there's no y, we have a vertical line. So you don't have to worry about the slope because it is undefined. A vertical line has undefined slope. But you have to know you have to make a vertical. So you go to the x-axis, x equals 2, x-axis positive 2. So from the origin, positive 2 is right here. So you guys can make a point if you want right there, but you have to make a vertical line. So you go up and you go down. So notice we do have the two lines intersecting at one point. The one point is right here. I'm just going to make a box, and you have to know, so that's the point of intersection. So you guys have to know what is that point. What's the coordinate? What's my x coordinate and the y coordinate? So my x coordinate, I'm just double checking here. From the origin, I go 2 to the right, and the y coordinate, I go up 1. So my answer is 2 to the right, 1 up. We have a solution, and this is only one solution because we have 1 point. 2 and 1. We have the x here, and we have the y. So you guys need to have that order. You must have the x first and the y. Now, what type of system do we have? You want to classify the system. Well, since it is 1 point, one solution, this is called a consistent independent. Independent means we have 1 point. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and look at the last example for this video, and that's going to be my last one. So for this one, we want to determine whether each system is consistent or inconsistent, and we want to know if it's independent or dependent. You're not solving, you're not looking for the answer, but you guys want to find out what type of system. You want to classify the system. So the graphs are already given to you. We have a red, a green, a blue, and a purple one. And we just want to know if this system is consistent, inconsistent, dependent, or independent. So let's go ahead and find out the two lines. I'm going to highlight the two lines so we can see what we want to compare. So I'm looking at the graph y equals negative 2x plus 3. So y equals negative 2x plus 3. So that's the red, the green line right here. So let me just highlight that so I know we are looking at this graph here. And the other one is y equals x minus 5. So y equals x minus 5 is this one, and it's actually purple. So I'm just going to highlight this again. And we are looking at these two lines right here. So what do we have? The two lines are intersecting at 1 point, just one. So that means that this is a consistent independent. So that's what we write down. And let me change colors here. I'm going to use blue, consistent, independent. We're not looking for the actual solution. The solution is the point where they are intersecting, but they're not asking for the x and the y. We just want to know the type of system that we have. Now, let me just get this away. we are looking at the next system. The next system is y equals negative 2x minus 5 and y equals negative 2x plus 3. So let's go ahead and look for y equals negative 2x minus 5. That's the red line here. Let me just highlight it. And we're looking at this graph here. And the next one is y equals negative 2x plus 3. Okay, we're looking at the green one again. So I'm just going to highlight that again, the green line here. So what do you notice about the two lines? The red and the green, they are parallel. So when they're parallel, that means that we don't have a solution. No solution. There's no x and y that will work for that system. So we say the type of system that this is inconsistent. When it's parallel, when the two lines are parallel, it is inconsistent. All right, guys, make sure you guys practice and make sure you guys also check my other videos. I'll see you guys later.